Mm. Okay, thank you for attending the session, and it's almost 7:30. But until 7:30, maybe we can have a discussion, right? Um, so I was there is some interesting um, sort of overlapping between all these talks, and especially the interpretations. That's what Nathaniel brought up at his talk. So what is do we need an interpretation, or what is the interpretation is very interesting. And then Hiro brought up like a consistency, right? That the consistency that the agent get the information from outside, and then that must be interpreted in a way to establish consistency is something I think is very reasonable, right? And that's Nathaniel was, I think he brought up some interesting picture. It's I think he called it consistency equations or something, which is brought from Jacob, right? And then that's I think it's interesting. So that beliefness or Bayesian network must be satisfied a consistency when they're interacting with the environment, which I think is a very, to me, it's an interesting and new way of thinking about this. And then Lana is also talk about the predictive coding. I think the predictive coding is a one maybe the discussion can replace it, but for the moment, the predictive coding is something that should try to satisfy the consistency. But because of that, you can have like this hallucination or the visual illusions, right? So that's what the KSK is also talking about. Even if there is no input from outside, but this visual hallucination emerges due to some sort of like some setup of prior or something, right? Twisted prior. I don't know how to say it, right? But the twisted prior, if it's the reason for having visual hallucination, that maybe it is related to what sort of prior that we have to have. And then coming back to Nathaniel's talk, that maybe this prior must satisfy this consistency equations or the structures. I think it's very much consistent in a way that what the people try to understand. And then, well, so the Martin gave a more like more embodied or more like we can understand how we can illustrate what Nathaniel tried to say in terms of Bayesian network, which I think was quite nice. But also, like Hiro said, uncertainty of agent is himself from this, judging from the outside is a bit confusing to me. So in the field of artificial life, we try to generate autonomous agent, and then Martins was saying that the uncertainty agent is detected from outside. That's what I was a bit confusing, but then that was embedded in the Bayesian network. So I wasn't quite sure whether you can embed an agent, uncertainty of agent in the framework of Bayesian network himself. So it was a bit confusing, but still, I think it's the whole picture seems very interesting, and it's maybe that's one of the way to go. I hope. But then again, I always remember that Eamon Harvey is one of the the most important person in artificial life field, that he always saying, okay, what about sensory motor contingency, and then with a minimal setup of neural network, and that's it, right? Why we have to think about beliefness priors and inferences, and if you want to bring it up because you are stupid, that's what I think he's going to say. But so I just want to know whether you think about these considering what we have been discussing in the field of artificial life, and then today's discussion. I think today's discussion is kind of advanced picture, or what we have been struggling with to understand what is agency, what is autonomy, what is interaction between agent and the environment, and that's the kind of impression that I got from this session. So I just opened up the discussion, and I think it was very interesting to me. I learned a lot. So I hand it to Hiro. What do you think?
Thank you very much for the summarization. I think good summarize. But yeah, a bit surprised that all people use the predictions, and I think Martin have something to say. Please.
Yeah, I don't know if you wanted. You could. I mean, I just wanted, I guess.
Yeah, please. Yes.
I think in general, yeah, so concerning the, like, maybe Inman Harvey's criticism that I don't know if I think maybe what his criticism is that you don't need all this stuff with the interpretation, and I think that's like the way I see it is. I think that's completely right. You actually, and it's also what we're saying. You don't need it, but you can. But you can use it. Like if you, it might exist. You can sometimes some things you can interpret them as Bayesian agents, or maybe there's a. I think the exact Bayesian interpretation is kind of strong. But maybe there's an approximate version. But the thing is that we can, I mean, I guess the way we want to see it is that, yeah, in the physics, basically, in the true physical system, there doesn't have to be, like, there's not going to be, or usually there will not be any probability distributions in there. So there will not be any beliefs. But there will be things that that have the dynamics that you can interpret as belief updating in maybe some approximate way. And if that's the case, then then sometimes this will maybe help you understand what's going on, or maybe why. Maybe we haven't done this yet, but maybe it will tell you why something is working, or maybe like in the, yeah, maybe even one day we can maybe even say why something is surviving, because like maybe if it behaves in a way that we can interpret as ensuring its survival, then it will actually survive. Like this is kind of maybe where we want to go, but I think at the moment we're kind of far away from this. But
yeah, it's a bit far away, but I understand. I agree with you. I like your what you're saying. Yes, I do.
Yeah,
yes. Nathaniel. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really, I just agree with everything Martin said, really. But Inman was as you know, Inman was my supervisor, PhD supervisor. So this, in a way, is kind of actually coming from the points that Inman likes to make. I mean, I'm sure we're not saying things that Inman would say, but Inman, like Inman's whole point was like, all these people saying representations in the brain, representations exist in the brain, like what does that mean? It's like it's a category error, right? That doesn't like a representation isn't the sort of thing that could even be in the brain, really. Like it doesn't even make sense to say that. But then on the other hand, what does it mean, right? Because nowadays we have deep neural networks, and they clearly do form representations in some sense, right? So what's actually going on there? Like, how can we really understand that in a way that isn't weird and self-contradictory? That's kind of what we're trying to do. But I totally also agree with your earlier comment, Takashi, that about autonomous agents, and that for the moment we've been trying to define an agent as something that tries to achieve a goal, but that's not satisfactory at all, because that kind of doesn't really capture even like the richness of everything animals do at all. So yeah, I think it's an excellent question to try and answer.
Keisuke.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually still this Bayesian statistical modeling, the idea of this, you know, the representation.
Mhm.
It's kind of new concept to me because I'm from physics, and in my kind of view, always it's just a like ground level, like a dynamical system only there. But now I actually like a Bayesian modeling of these ideas. To me, it's a bit like a dualismic, like you assume ontologically there's a different world from the physical world, and you know, and I think it's just a trend, and people start understanding this way of understanding their intelligence and biological system. So, I mean, and then yeah, it's going back to the original embodiment equation. So I'm really interested in like how to connect these two different worlds, and Martin and Nathaniel's always quite interesting direction to go. So, but yeah, I'm still thinking so that like yeah, now big the trendy now this Markov blanket idea. I think the Frisson tried to bridge these autopoietic, you know, like embodied inactive idea to the Bayesian inference. So maybe it failed. It might be failing in this way, but yeah, I think that direction is definitely interesting to see. And especially yeah, I'm talking about visual hallucination, but you know, some phenomena in consciousness, like dream or hallucination, we cannot describe with just ground level. I think, you know, it's just the bit interpretation level. It's detached from the ongoing sensory motor coupling. So
Yeah.
that's another kind of evidence we need to think about this interpretation. So yeah, I think it's all going to be together to this time.
Yeah, that's right. Any other questions or comments? Yes, Nimi-sensei, please.
Just a comment. Yeah, such a framework of the Bayesian network or such a discrete time slicing is a traditional way of the modeling the reinforcement learning in a very classic one. So as you know, so that's not new for me. It's that very retrospective something. But anyway, yeah, I think it's a pity. That's the rise of the boom of the neural network now, and then such kind of the very classic framework is forgotten. That's a pity. So that's I'm very happy to hear that you talk about some revival of such a framework. And then another suggestion from me is that at that time, one of the problem is that we need to treat the multi-layered different time scale for the real problem. And of course, the modeling also. If we saw the volcano as the agency, then we should observe the time span of some 1,000 years or more. But we cannot observe that one. So then we cannot recognize how much is have the agency or not. So maybe we should kind of multi-layered different time scales, Bayesian network, but it might break the principle of Inman proposed. So I'm not sure which direction is better, but anyway,
thank you.
One of the interesting things is something like that.
Any other questions or comments? Or like Atsushi, if you have any comments on this? Masumori-kun, do you have any comments? So maybe he's not here.
Can I say something?
Oh yeah.
And Nathaniel and Martin tried to create the theory or a model of the observer's point of view. And then I think it's a good to have a such direction, a kind of a new direction, and
Uh-huh.
everybody believe that the observer is important, but I don't want to touch. Usually people don't want to touch, but at the same time I don't like saying just that uncertainty. So even when I see Takashi, that there are a lot of uncertainty, but they not just saying uncertainty, but I think there must be a necessary condition to create such kind of uncertainty. And then I just want to know what mechanism or what kind of dynamics can create the uncertainty from the observer's point of view. So I think there are two
Yeah, different.
one is go to the observer point of view, and then one is just going to the individual point. Yes.
Martin, do you want to say something?
Why? So I'm not really sure. What do you mean by your uncertainty about Takashi? I didn't understand what you mean exactly. So do you mean where? Like, or maybe what you're saying is, okay, you're sitting there, maybe in Hokkaido, I don't know.
Unfortunately, in Tokyo. Yeah, maybe.
In Tokyo, okay. I mean, Takashi, but maybe, I don't know, maybe Hiro is in Hokkaido. But, and so are you wondering how you can be uncertain about something, even though your brain is maybe in a certain state? Is this what you are wondering? Or I don't.
Well, I think what Hiro wanted to say is that uncertainty is the foundation of uncertainty. We used to think that's from dynamical systems, like a chaotic behavior.
Okay.
But when you say just uncertainty, we don't know what causes this, what makes the uncertainty. Maybe it's because environment is fundamentally, uncertain, or maybe it's coming from,
That's a good question, maybe.
dynamics, or maybe something else. That's what I think.
So
The
go ahead.
the kind of uncertainty that we were talking about really means a lack of knowledge more than anything else, right? So it's kind of Bayesian uncertainty.
Yeah.
Right, so we don't know the precise value of I don't know, pick your favorite physical constant, right? We don't know its precise value, so there's a probability distribution, like we have some uncertainty. So there's a kind of huge difference between this. There's a word people use, well, like aleatoric means the thing that's actually fluctuating, and then epistemic means the kind of uncertainty that's sort of Bayesian in nature. There's like a huge difference between them.
Yeah, I think that's maybe.
So,
but Nathaniel, but like I said before, but about the ocean, right? We know we know about what the ocean is, like blue, images with white waves coming, and we have a bunch of times experience. Maybe Martin will always go to surfboarding, and he knows everything about the ocean, right? But when you drive a car one day, and then when you just pass the tunnel, right? Or when you see the piece of blue, in front of you, and you say, wow, it's the ocean, right? You have surprise, even though if you know a bunch of what the ocean means to you, but still you can get surprised, because that's what we see, lived body or lived experiences, right? You can get surprised, even if you are not, knowledge of ocean is not lacking here, right? But still you can surprise, because at this moment that you see the ocean, this brightness in front of you, and bunch of your modality get activated. That's, I think it's more related to the agency or autonomous agent. That's what I think. So I think the difference between the lacking of knowledge from Bayesian uncertainty and living systems can get surprised, not by the Bayesian uncertainty, but maybe something else.
Yeah,
that's, I think, is what we also have to look for. Maybe it's my very much personal intuition.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a huge difference between, people mix up surprise with negative log probability, and they're totally different, right? Like if the lottery numbers come out to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's really surprising, and if they come out to be 67, 13,
Yes.
blah, 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 that's not so surprising, right? It's
I think that Takashi's statement related to the aesthetics, isn't it?
I don't know whether that memory is not always the function that the dynamics that gives you surprise, but I'm not quite sure what. For example, like if you see this the front images of this cup, and you never see this backside of this cup, but you guess you are in. Even if you don't know, you have never seen this backside of this cup, but still you can have you think that you have a complete knowledge of what the cup is, right? I mean, and what Bayesian uncertainties about this, but
I wanted to say about the surprise.
the surprise cannot be explained simply from the Bayesian uncertainty. That's what
I agree. So maybe related to the aesthetics or the.
I don't know whether we can call it aesthetics or not, but yeah, that's what
Yeah, because all science is beautiful. Isn't it?
Okay. Wataru-kun, do you have any comments on these things? Noguchi-kun, if you have any comments, please. So, what should we do? Maybe we have to wrap up within 2 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. But I think this is good, right? And but it's like an open discussions, and then not summarized, but people have questions and not satisfied, and then go to the next step. So I think this is a good end of this session. It's okay.
Yeah. It's a motivation for the future. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and anyway, okay, then let's close this session. Okay, thank you very much for attending the organization. Our organization, we enjoyed it very much, and we hope they all participants will also enjoy this conference and workshops organization. So then see you maybe next. Is the deadline of the Artificial Life conference is approaching, I think. So let's submit the paper to the ALife as well, and then let's continue the discussion. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So see you next time.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye, guys, or everybody.